So go buy it now. Yeah, so I feel like there's this like we're everything's gotten muddled. So we're no
Yeah,
longer, or were no longer, allowing art to create culture. It was literally just stifled by and afraid of hurting feelings, hurting uh like this hypersensitivity to what is dangerous, right?
yeah,
And if you bow to that, and it's basically bowing to numbers too, right? So
yeah,
it
100%. First and foremost, I think.
yeah. So it's like, if you can hurt them in the pocketbook, then you can control what is being made. And if you don't want it to make culture, if you just want it to do the bidding of culture, then you kind of are able to control uh, entertainment,
Yeah,
control the the apparatus, one of the largest industries in the world, if you think about it, right? Like,
right.
obviously food is a very large industry. Um, Pharmaceuticals is a very large industry. Banking is a very large industry, and entertainment is right up there with all of it. Billions, how many billions, hundreds of billions of dollars comes out of Hollywood or is
Oh man.
made by Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah, it's big business.
Yeah,
Another thing, everybody is so leveraged on the amount of money that's going into movies that if the movie doesn't hit, everybody's out of a job. And so now they're not even taking risks on films that you saw in the 90s that, Miramax did. Now you're seeing the seventh remake of Terminator and a remake of this show and a remake of that show and no longer is it trilogy movies, but they're doing five, six, seven of the same.
they're good for the
Yeah,
most
sure.
part. For the most
I
part,
mean,
they're good. It's just, how is it creating culture? Like, what is it doing?
no, it's not.
Get
It's part
people
of the
to think.
machine.
Yeah,
And I'm not knocking the big movies. I think the big movies are entertaining, but you have to have the other movies like the Goodwill Huntings and the Reservoir Dogs and the like the raw talent of the 90s that was like we don't even know who these people are. What Sundance set out to be. Now it's a shit show of Hollywood.
yeah. It's a pay to play, basically, right? So
Yeah.
it and they trick us, right? They trick us. They pretend. They still like to pretend like things are bought there, and it's not saying things aren't bought there still. I just can't remember or know what they are. But so it's this it's this
Yeah.
ruse almost, which it sounds like maybe that's what you're saying is kind of what you were running into at your last job with the
Yeah,
corporate
it
and
was fine. It's just I don't do well in that kind of setting because there is there there is no weight given to creativity,
mm,
right? You would
the
come up with
culturalist of the
titles.
world,
What's that?
to the culturalist, like as an artist you should be a culturalist, and if the corporation comes in and kind of snuffs out the artist, then they're controlling the culture, not the artist, right? The artist is not being able
Yeah,
to. Yeah,
yeah,
it's sad, but
yeah.
that's
It
why
is.
we're here, right in the good
Yeah.
fight. um I want to go back to your Cowboys and Aliens real quick. The fact that you said you're going into your second season now.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think at the last time we talked, you had just wrapped the first season. So
yeah.
how was that going back for a second season? Did they up that budget for you a little bit coming off of the success of the first season? And
They didn't up the budget, but they dropped the episode count. And
oh,
so
okay,
for the first season, we were
shrinkflation.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it was 8 hour long episodes for the first season. After it was shot, they wanted to go with think 10 half-hour episodes. I can't, maybe it was 8 half-hour episodes. And then with across the board, Roku decided to do 6 episode seasons at a half-hour mark. And so every single one of their shows that they greenlighted for a second season, half-hour long, 6 episodes.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know why it was approximately the same amount of money for less content, but I think that they feel it's maybe the sweet spot based on their metrics that people will continue to binge watch them at 6 half-hour long episodes as opposed to 8 or 10. That's
Right.
my guess.
Huh. Well, I mean, do you feel like y'all are putting more on the screen and getting more in that time, or do you feel like it's basically the same? Because that could be a strategy too, where it's like make it look a little bit better. You know what it did at eight episodes. Now we make it look a little bit better. Give us more money, and we could do this at 8 episodes, or and just maybe it helps grow. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass now, but grow the.
No, I mean it helps, but it's reality TV at the end of the day, so it's like the amount of money that they throw at reality TV. I had this talk with you about YouTube too. It makes you the amount of money that you can make in YouTube. Like, why spend your time 6 months, a year, 2 years working on a screenplay that means something to you, maybe 5 other people in the world, when you can go out and shoot reality TV, it pays better, or you can go out and make 1,000 YouTube videos and that pays better. So what's the point of making things that matter or are worth it? You know what I mean? Because everything is so damn expensive these days. You look at the cost of movies. I have no doubt that if a studio gave us the money to go shoot this Tinseltown as a movie, the money that they put into UFO Cowboys, we could make 2 movies.
Right.
Oh my gosh, it's like, I don't get it. I don't, and I think that that's also part of the corporate structure where it's like, okay, you have to have this guy to do this, and you have to have this guy to do that. You can't have somebody wearing 5 or 6 hats like they do on the independent projects that we shoot. Like Halfway There, which was the play that I was telling you about, that was the prequel basically to this Tinseltown project. I got a DP who's producing, who's also gaffing, who's also set design, this like that's what you do, and everybody has a little bit of knowledge about everything, and you shoot it for a relatively decent budget. But it's crazy the amount of money being thrown at these shit projects.
Yeah. Yeah. They've definitely got it on lock too, because it's it's basically at every step of the process, all the way up to selling of the project and everything. They've got it where it's gamed, right? They've got the whole system sort of gamed. But that's the beautiful thing about the internet, where we're at today. And the fact that there are avenues out there to get your material out there, to get it seen. You have to do it at a cheaper level. That's why we're turning Tinseltown into a podcast, right?
I love it. My daughter, you got a book, I got a book. My daughter, she just finished a book and she's telling me to read it. And it's Investigators and Seek. And she's like, Dad, have you read this book? It's amazing. It's like, Tinseltown might be cool with pictures like this.
I thought about it, man. AI, right?
Yeah.
It's coming.
There we go.
All right, man. Back at it. I think we were just starting to go down the AI route. You sent me. I don't hate. I mean, obviously, it's not an accurate representation as far as like all the characters and stuff goes, but for Tinsel to whatever, it's kind of fun, right?
Yeah. It can't spell for shit, and it looks Russian half the time, but kind of looks more like a magician
Yeah,
pamphlet.
but the layout and the chaos of the cover is fun.
But you saw the one I did for Sacred
Yeah,
Land.
Sacred Lands is cool. Like that's
That one I actually would use if it could spell.
right. So what were the prompts? How did you
I just said, "What do you know about the book Sacred Land by Brett Edwards, or the book Tinseltown by Brett Edwards?" And it said, "I know this." Let's see. It said, which is interesting for Tinseltown. This is what it said. It said, "It's a novel by Brett Edwards that revolves around Eddie Rabe, a character who has spent his entire life chasing an Academy Award. The book interweaves various storylines and has been compared to the storytelling style of Pulp Fiction. Unfortunately, it appears to be out of stock on major platforms like Amazon and Thrift Books. You might want to check other online retailers or secondhand bookstores." It's only on Amazon. How is it out of stock?
it's because it's a hit, dude. People are
Yeah.
buying up all the copies. Whenever I tried to go get one, it said sold out. Um, Waiting for the author to or the publishing company to reissue.
For what?
No, I'm joking.
Oh, for
That
Sacred Land. It said, "There's a modern reimagining of the historical conflict at Little Bighorn, blending elements of Western and crime. Follows the descendants of Custer and Crazy Horse as they battle, driven by a clash between destitute cowboys, casino-rich natives, a manic politician, and a morally sound sheriff. Central to the story is Kenny, who aims to buy all the ranches and spearfish and turn them into tribal land. However, the Flying Sea refuses to sell, leading to a violent confrontation." That's from Barnes and Noble.
um,
And
and that's still in stock, so that's kind of Chat GPT. So what
yeah,
you just asked, so you just asked it what it knew about the book and then asked it to give you some artwork?
yeah. And then I said, "Create me a book cover based on this," and that's what it did. But it can't spell for shit. That's one
No,
of the problems.
which is just weird. It's like those commercials that you see where, it's like a football commercial and it just keeps kind of like morphing.
Yeah.
That's some of the same issues that we ran into. So let's so on to Tinseltown or to further on Tinseltown as far as like the podcast goes.